Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. Before I get into this video, I'd like to ask you all to please leave a like or comment on my video. Consider subscribing to my channel, and if you dislike the content, please leave a comment. Now, today's video is going to be on soloing story missions. Now, here's the thing. A lot of players have been asking me to explain how you solo T8 and T10 missions. Now, there's three things I want to say about this. If I were to make a video on soloing a T10 mission, it's going to cut it's going to be a cut of over 12 hours, of which most of it I'm going to be sleeping through, because this is the difficulty in T8 and T10 missions. You have to get rid of all of the small ships first. So the first 30 minutes of combat is going around the battle cruisers or the cruisers in the fight and taking out all the frigates. Once all the frigates are gone, you no longer have a problem where you can be disrupted. So I'm just going to go into these missions at the bottom, and I'm going to basically give you an overall on where they are difficult and where they are easy. Okay, so let's look at them one by one from Galante Space, right? Super Soft Drink is a T6 mission. It's very simple. All you've got to do is fight through it non-stop without getting too close to the newts. Now, newts are effective at up to 16 kilometers. They start to affect your energy grid at that point. However, they totally have a full effect at 8 kilometers. So full effect is 8, minimum is 16. You're going to keep a 20-kilometer radius on enemies in this fight. So nothing that will take you too close to them is a good idea. If you still want to fight closer because you're running torpedoes or something like that, an Acolyte battery will help you get close. If you're running a big ship like a cruiser, you just keep your distance at over 20 kilometers and you'll be able to finish this fight with auto locking, and you won't even really have to worry about too much. Auto locking and a battery, and it will take you around 1 hour if you have good enough weapons. It'll take you about 1 hour 30 minutes to complete all combat if you have entry level elite gear. Now, moving up, Business Magnet. Business Magnet has one of the best rewards in terms of the Galante space. It is a 60 million ISK reward, and it is a little bit difficult. When I say it's a little bit difficult, I mean time consuming. So overall, if you're going to solo this, the first part of the mission is going to take you between 1 hour and 2 hours. The reason is there's a lot of small ships to fight, and if they get close to you, you're going to end up needing to warp away because they're going to generally webify you, and the bigger ships are going to hit you really hard. So you have to take out all the small ships first, so that's going to take a lot of warping around and things like that there to make sure that you aren't affected by newts either. So the next thing that's also going to affect it is once you are done taking out all the small ships, you're going to have to keep those good, nice orbits while looking at where everything else is in the fight. You have to be active throughout this fight. You can't just autopilot through it and hope that you're going to finish. Okay, the next thing to note with this whole fight in Business Magnet is you have the problem where you're going to run into a lot of uh, ships who have various weapons. So you're going to get lasers and railguns against you all the time. So running just one boost on your shield to think it's going to help you with the fight isn't really going to do it. You're going to have to be active in this fight, as I said, and the first part can take between 30 minutes and 2 hours depending on how good your fleet is. The second part of combat can take you anywhere between 1 hour and 4 hours to complete. Now, 1 hour if you have very strong weapons and using enough boost to your weapons to do damage, then it will take you about an hour to complete it. If not, it can take you up to 4 hours to complete because once more you have elite battle cruisers and elite cruisers in this fight. So taking them out is a little bit tanky and it's going to take some time. You're going to waste about 5 minutes per ship, and in total you're going to take 10 in this entire battle, so that's 50 minutes just on the elites. Then the next problem you're going to have is frigates. Frigates tend to jump in between the elites and webify you. If you get caught, you're going to take a lot of damage quickly. You're going to have to warp away and repair. So with all of this being said, you're going to have to take on elites and frigates in the start of each of the waves, and the waves are a little bit large, so it is going to take you some time to clear it out. Business Magnet is one of the more tough missions from the Galante space. It's more difficult than Super Soft Drink, more difficult than Sweet Poison, and about the same difficulty. No, it's not the same difficulty as Modern World. My mistake. It's way easy. It's way more difficult than Modern World as well. So the next one on this list is Modern World. Now, Modern World is a slightly easier version of the Business Magnet. You don't have as many elite battle cruisers in the fight. You have more elite cruisers and frigates, and one or two elite battle cruisers. Now, elite battle cruisers are a little bit of a pain when it comes to how tanky they are. This fight is also along the same amount of time as Business Magnet because of the fact that you have to take out so many frigates and the fact that you have to navigate around all of the other ships. Remember, you still take a ton of damage in these fights if you get caught, and even with being able to speed tank away, when you're turning or when you are changing targets, you do get hit for about 10 seconds. So you do take a considerable amount of damage. Shield boosters are necessary for this mission if you're running shield tanks, armor boosters if you're running armor tanks. Right, then let's move on to Sweet Poison. Sweet Poison is a T10 mission. Now, even though it is T10, it is absolutely simple. The battleships in it are very tanky. However, the catch with the battleships are they may be tanky, but they have terrible acquisition. You can fly circles around them with your cruisers. You hardly take any damage from battle cruisers. So in this fight, the first thing you're going to want to do is eliminate all frigates, all cruisers, and all battle cruisers. And your last wave is just going to be a ton of hard to destroy battle cruisers. You get two different variants in the Galante space mission. So you're going to fight them, and even the elites aren't really going to hurt you. You can orbit them at about 9 kilometers. You just have to watch out for one elite battleship with the neutron on it. It can knock out your power grid in 10 seconds. So there is the warning when you go into this fight. Make sure you stay away from that battleship, the elite battleship. You're going to have to tank it for not tank it. Sorry, you're going to have to give it a nice large radius. The newt on it works for up to 20 kilometers. So you're going to need to be at something like 30 kilometers on your fighting radius. At 20 kilometers, it knocks out 600 power per hit, and not 20, at 16, it's 600 per hit, and at the 20-kilometer mark, the effect is reduced by 10%, so it still is affecting you. At 25, it falls off completely, so you aren't going to be hit. And at 30, you are safe and you're outside of the region. If you ever get cornered with another vessel to fight, you can always change targets and destroy frigates quickly so that you can get away from that battle cruiser, the battleship. Sorry. Now, the catch with doing Sweet Poison is these high-end ships really do pack a punch. They're going to hurt you quite a bit, and taking out the battleships is a little bit of pain. It takes on average 2 hours to complete 6 battleships for me. That's because I run missiles instead of rapids or torpedoes, and I run long range orbits with more defensive fittings. I generally sleep through my 6 battleships at the end of each wave in the last run, and that is something that I do a lot. It takes me on average 8 to 12 hours to complete all combat in this mission. Now, that's a warning on how long it takes to solo that mission, and that's one of the reasons why I won't make a video on it, because I have a habit of falling asleep when playing that mission. I have soloed it a total of 4 times so far. It's 50 million ISK and a bounty of around 40 million from this entire mission. That is the bounty from killing the ship. So 40 plus 50, that's 90 million of this mission if you do it in a day. Plus you have the chest at the end of the mission that sells for 20 million. So 110 million ISK if you complete this in one day. Now, the catches with doing this mission is extremely tedious, extremely tiring, takes 12 hours to complete if you're running it solo with a fair power ship. Running it with a battle cruiser will be a lot more difficult because you don't have speed to speed tank. Your speed makes it impossible for battleships to touch you, so that's how come I can sleep through this mission in the last part. Now, moving on, let's go to Caldari space. For patriotism, the big problem with them is they love to warp disrupt you and they are running missiles. So they do constant damage to you in small, tiny figures if you're speed tanking. And what you're going to need to do is be very active through the entire fight. You're going to have to be there and watching everything. They have a few shield tanks which are very, very tanky. They generally take about 5 to 10 minutes to take out one of those tanks. And that is the catch with for patriotism. Now let's move up to the next few big boys. Mega Corporation, Bad Hair Day, and A Soldier's Way. Now I haven't soloed all three. I have soloed Mega Corporation. The Mega Corporation takes me about 8 hours to complete, and from what I'm told, A Soldier's Way is double the difficulty of Mega Corporation. So that will basically be about 80 times, maybe about 12 to 16 hours to complete The Soldier's Way. I'm not exactly sure. I've never tried to solo it. I've helped players through it in less than 2 hours. And when I did it with a fleet in Mega Corporation, it took us about 2 hours. So 2 hours for Mega Corporation, 2 hours for A Soldier's Way. That's what we managed to do in a fleet. Now, the big problem with them is they love to use warp disruptors, and warp disruptors are effective on up to 25 kilometers. So if you are running in this mission, one other warning is they love to use energy drain. So you're going to get hit by a ton of energy drain on your system, and that is going to be a constant bother to you no matter which ships you are fighting. So the other thing in this mission when you are playing is you're going to want to keep a good range on all these ships at all times. Going in below 20 means you're going to be subject to getting hit with newts having not newts, sorry, energy drain from Nosferatu. It's going to be a minor effect from them because you wobble in your orbit between 20 and 16 as you move around. So you're just going to tip in and tip out of the effectiveness. And sometimes it does glitch where they can drain you from up to 80 kilometers away. And that is when it gets a bit difficult to fight in these missions. And it is something to watch out for. Now, when it comes to Mega Corporation, the battle cruise, not battle cruisers, the battle cruisers, sorry, not battleships. The battle cruisers in this mission are really tough. I think they are battleships in T8. It's just that they are so much easier than the T10 versions that I don't notice the difference between a T10 between a T8 battleship and a T8 battle cruiser. They have about the same tankiness and it's easy enough to get through them. Now, that's what you're going to get in A Soldier's Way and Mega Corporation. They may be a little bit more tanky when I say that. So it's 10 to about 20 minutes to take out a battle cruiser or battleship in those missions if you're soloing. It is a very, very long thing to do, and you can't sleep or leave this game alone for a second when playing in Caldari because of the constant damage that you take from missiles. Now, the missiles, even if you are super fast and you speed tanking, you're going to take like 1 or 2% every few seconds, and by the time you reach like 5 minutes, you're going to notice like 40 or 50% of your shield is gone. So you're going to have to heal every few minutes. That is the one thing in Caldari. Now, Bad Hair Day is the T10 encounter for Caldari. The problem with this is that first wave has a ton of long range missiles that are going to fire on you. Now, while you are still trying to set into orbit, they will hit and hurt. And when I say hurt, I mean they can take down up to 56% of your shield if you have a good hardener on your shield. So that is the warning on A Soldier's Way. Be careful with it. Moving up into Minmatar space, I haven't soloed all of them. I have only fought 3 missions in this entire set for Freedom, Angel or Devil, and Disaster Relief. And that's all that I have fought. And I found that for Freedom was so easy. I just went in, I soloed it, and I came out. It took me less than an hour to do it with my trainer. And I've never ever tried anything else from For Freedom. I don't get many missions for Freedom, so there is another catch for me, and I need to be grinding more of those missions, the encounters. Now, when it comes to a mass space, I avoid doing it solo because of the fact that lasers have on me. However, I can solo Spark of Rebellion and True Divine Trial. I've done it with a friend before, I've completed it for him. But the thing about it was, I had enough speed that they weren't touching me, so I wasn't taking that much damage. But during my change of targets, they do about 60% damage to my shield, and it takes me a few seconds to regain my shield so that I can keep fighting properly. There is the warning in this fight. If you are fighting them and you are trying to go through a mass space, remember those laser weapons rip through your shield very, very quickly. Be very careful about it. In terms of their debuff skills, they didn't affect me that bad with debuffs. Let's see. Actually, I've never been directly hit by any of the debuffs at full effect. I know that they were running Norse. I know that they were running another debuff, but nothing really affected me because of the range I kept on them. I kept a 37-kilometer range, and I fought through the entire battle. I didn't allow myself to go any closer. And I really did do well in the battle. I didn't lose much of time in the fight. Spark of Rebellion took me about 2 hours and 5 minutes, and that's because I had a second player there to help me with getting a warp point away from the center. So that's how long it took me in Spark of Rebellion. I don't remember my time for True Divine Trial. Divine Redemption, I've done it in a fleet. Friends by Blood, I have never completed that mission. And that is just about it. I don't really do much of the Minmata in a Mars space, as you can see. Minmata is purely because I don't get encounters from Minmata, and Amar is because I don't really like facing off against lasers. 1 minute of neglecting the game, and you can end up with a damaged ship, or you can end up getting your ship destroyed. Something I don't want to have happen to me. So that is the way in which I have soloed these missions. And what do I use to solo? Caracal Navy issue. I run long range Challenger missiles. I run a Weber Fire and a Norse Energy Drain, the Nosferatu. In my low slot, I have a Shield Booster, um, a Shield Hardener, the red one, and I have what is that first level shield extender? I'm forgetting its name. A Wolf Shield extender. Shield extender. That's the one that I run on my ship. And the last slot is an afterburner. The afterburner takes my CNI to about 1,080 kilometers per second. I'm running defense 2 rigs on the ship, so that is where most of my defense and my capability comes for taking on these battles. For all of these fights, I have been able to complete them without docking in some cases, but in other cases, I dock just for the safety of getting more power into my ship before I take on the rest of it. The catch with taking on T8 with a battle cruiser is the fact that it's going to be able to fight with everything right to the end. You might be able to get done with the mission slightly faster. You might cut off about an hour of the complete combat time for using a battle cruiser in these missions, but you will take damage constantly through the fight because cruisers and frigates will have the advantage on you. They're going to keep hitting you throughout the fight, and they're going to be very tanky for you to take out because of their speed. So there is the warning on using battle cruisers in this. Although now with the skill reset, you're going to have a lot more speed and a lot more power on your side, so you can take them on quite easily, considering the reset is something that can shift you into full out battle cruiser mode. Now, with all of this said, that is one of the reasons why I don't want to do solos on these missions. The solo T8 is way too long and tedious. I'm only going to show you a fraction of a fight in 30 minutes, and it's not even going to be enough to make you happy with the overall performance. If I take you into the last part of the fight, it's going to be 90% of the time me sleeping or me just running away at a massive range. And it's just going to be a monotonous loop of the same thing going on for 30 minutes. So it's something you don't want to have to watch. And if you can, you would really avoid it. Now, I did say that a bad hair day has that little bit of firepower from the battleships that's going to tick at you no matter how fast you are. Here are two warnings on it. If you are taking greater than 10% damage per tick from those enemies, get out of the fight and get someone else to come with you, or get a drone boat and use it at a long distance. Now, the whole thing with drone boats is they can go up to 64 kilometers, which is where the range fall off for the standard long range missiles is for battleships. So at 64 kilometers, where those ships operate, you're able to sit outside of the regular range and you can hit them quite nicely with the right fittings on your drone boats. That's Prophecy and your, what was the other one? Vexa Navy issue. Or a Myrmidon. Actually, I'm forgetting about the Myrmidon. So all of those will do fantastic in these missions. They can solo just about any mission. I know for a fact that Vexa Navy issue can solo all of the missions quite a lot faster than my long range missiles can do all of these missions. I've tried torpedoes, and torpedoes are not so effective. You end up taking a lot of the negative effects head on, so you get webbed quite a bit, and you also get energy drained and muted quite a bit as well in these fights. So I wouldn't recommend using any close range weapons. So that's going to be it for this discussion on how to solo these fights. The thing to do is keep your range on all vessels, take out small ships first, and that's going to be about it. That's one of the, and this is the reasons why I'm not going to actually do any of those videos. So thank you all for watching. Have a good day.